Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jay the Wanderer with Oakland Latinos Unidos, a.k.a. Oakland Latinos United, the voice of the Latino community in the Bay Area, California, YouTube, and beyond. Well, I'm over here at the Fruitvale Bart station today. We're celebrating the anniversary, the 4-year anniversary of the murder of Oscar Grant, which happened right up here on this platform in January 1st of 2009, which was a very tragic day. It was a fucking public execution of a young black man, and in this country there's been a lot of public executions of young black and brown men, and I'm here. I have the pleasure of meeting and being here and having an interview with the cousin of someone who has been a victim of police terror last year, and that's Ernest Duenez. And many of you might have seen the video I did about Ernest Duenez. Well, this is Ernest Duenez's cousin. She's here to speak to me, to us, to the community about what happened, about what's going on, and just introduce yourself, a little bit about you.
Okay.
Your name?
Christina Arechiga. I'm Ernest's first cousin. Our moms are sisters. We were 6 months apart. We were best friends our whole lives. And on June 8th, 2011, he was murdered by John Moody of the Manteca Police Department. And we're here today to celebrate Oscar Grant's life. We're here today to stand beside Oscar Grant's family, his mother and his aunts and his uncle and his daughter, because they have built a platform in our community to allow people such as us who have been victimized by the police to find assistance in fighting back. When your family is murdered at any time, but especially by the police, you don't have anywhere to turn to. They've made a way for people to seek justice and to find answers, as difficult as that may be. But we're just trying to make aware of the situation with my cousin being murdered by the Manteca Police Department. On December 12th of this year, the San Joaquin County District Attorney's Office ruled it as legally justified, and we do not accept that.
Of course not.
We believe that it was murder. You can see for yourself. The video speaks for itself. We don't need to really even say much more than go watch the video, and you can find it on our Facebook page at facebook.com/justice for Ernest.
And you can see it on my video I made on my own page.
Yes, you can. You can see it on Latinos United. We want justice for my cousin, not just for Ernest, but we want justice for Oscar, who was denied justice. We want justice for all the young men, Alan Blooper, James Rivera, Luther Brown, Kenneth Harding, all these young men who are being murdered by the police. We want justice, and we're not going away. The police need to know we're not going away. The city council need to know that we're not going away. We're only uniting and getting stronger at this point, and they need to expect us because we're coming.
So what was the response of the Manteca City Council and the Chief of Police in Manteca? And how is the City Council in Manteca? Are they like right-wing Republican types?
Pretty much. Yeah.
They are?
I mean, Manteca is a suburb. A lot of people who live there live in glass houses. They don't feel that anything can happen to them.
Yeah.
It's a community where there's not a lot of crime. So in the city's eyes, my cousin must have done something wrong to justify that officer murdering him. And that's pretty much the position that a lot of people took in that town. But now that they've seen the video of Ernest being murdered, they've been contacting us and telling us how ashamed of themselves they were for having that position and not being open-minded. So we're definitely reaching people. As far as the city council goes, we went there a couple of times. We couldn't get any sort of response. They put us off to the last. They made us sit for hours and hours before they would even hear us. They did not respond because of a pending lawsuit that my family has against them in the federal court on a civil case.
Wow.
You know, I mean, the police chief, you know, I addressed him personally because I wanted to tell him he should be ashamed of himself for going on television and saying that my cousin's murder was justified.
Yeah.
But he had no response. So at this point, the city of Manteca, they're nobody in this situation, and we need to reach out to our state and federal government, make them accountable for what the city and the county is doing to the people of California.
Go take it to them. Take it to the Capitol.
Yes, and we need everybody to support us. We need everybody to stand up. When we call for action and we ask you to come out and support us, we need you to be there. Because this could happen to you, it could happen to any one of us.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that it can, I'm here to tell you that it really, really can. It can happen to your family, as it happened to my family.
Yeah.
And you need to stand up at this time. If we would have done something about Oscar Grant, then my cousin might be here today. But because we allowed that injustice to happen with Oscar Grant, my cousin was murdered. And James Rivera was murdered, and you know, all these other young men. It pains me to see a young man die this summer. That could have been prevented if something was done when my cousin was murdered.
Yeah.
And it goes on, and we only people that can stop it is us, the people. We're the only ones who can do it.
And I mean, I lived in the Central Valley for a little bit, and I do realize that in those towns, the cops are like these racist rednecks that they hire. They see any Latino or black man as a threat, and they just get hard-ons, and they just want to harass you, shoot you, beat you. And I mean, it's no different here in Oakland. The Oakland police is pretty bad as well. But what do you think about those fucking pendejos, those idiots that are going online saying, oh, well, Ernest Duenez deserved it, he was a criminal, he was a gangbanger, or the same ones that were saying Oscar Grant got killed? What do you feel about those type of people, honestly?
I honestly feel that they're either a police officer or someone related to a police officer or somebody who is insane, because I don't see how you can have that sort of point of view to another human being. Because, yes, we've never denied it. It is public record that my cousin had a police record. But nothing that he ever did in his life ever had a judge give him the death penalty. And if that's the case, that officer didn't deserve to act as judge, jury, and executioner as he
Exactly.
did. And what happened on that videotape has nothing to do with Ernest's past whatsoever.
No.
And it has everything to do with that officer being a criminal.
Yeah.
And he waited. He lied in wait for my cousin. He
even called him out by name.
His name is not Ernie.
Ernie, yeah.
Her name is Ernest or Ernesto.
Yeah.
Ernesto to his friends.
Yeah.
Junior to his family. He's not Ernie. And I want to ask everybody to never call him that, because that's the name that his murder called him.
Yeah.
And that man didn't know him. He didn't know anything about him. And honestly, to the people who say those things about my cousin, the only thing I have to say is, you need to watch the video. And honestly, there's way too much positivity for us to listen to that negativity. There really is. If the LA Times did a survey, over 80% of the people surveyed believe that my cousin's murder was unjustified. And that's all we need to know, is that over 80% of our people agree that what happened was unjustified. So those other people, I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry. I hope that nothing like this ever happens to their family.
Yeah.
Because when it does, they're going to feel the pain that we feel today. And, you know,
I think the problem with a lot of those people, they've been desensitized. How do you say that word? Desensitized. And they've been brainwashed by the system. They've been brainwashed by the media that black and brown men
I think it
are
just
a
boils
threat.
down to, like you said, a lot of it is racism.
Yeah.
We have to be real. You know, I'm not saying that this can't happen to somebody who's white or Asian.
Oh, of course not.
The bottom line is that it's a disproportionate amount of numbers that happens to blacks and Latinos.
Yeah.
And that's not to be racist about.
Yeah,
People
I know.
get upset when I say that on our page, but the bottom line
That's the
is
reality.
that if we're going to tackle this all together, blacks and whites and Latinos and Asians and
Native Americans,
if we're all going to tackle this, we need to be real about the situation. The situation is that there is racism alive in America.
Yes.
And that racism does play a part in these men dying.
Yeah.
And, and that's the bottom line. And
it's also institutionalized racism as well.
yes, it is. And
Yeah.
like, you know, like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X said. He said, you know, they traded in their white sheep and their hound dogs for police uniforms and canines. And that's exactly what has happened.
Also, Corky Gonzalez said it's the judge and jury of nothing, because they never represent us.
Yep,
So,
true.
yeah.
The DAs are not representing
Yeah.
us. The district attorneys need to be put on notice that we are not going to stand for it. We are not going to stand for them protecting the police over the people. Their job is to protect the people. Their job is to stand up for the people, and they're not doing it.
Yeah.
They're standing up for the police, and the people will not have it.
And they stand up for Wall Street, too.
James Willis of the San Joaquin County District Attorney's Office has had some high-profile cases come before him. James Rivera, Joey Panasco, Ernest Duenez. He's found every single one of them legally justified, and it's not right.
Yeah.
And we're not going to stand for it. And we're coming for you, James Willis. We want your job, which the only reason that you have is because you went uncontested in your race. There was nobody there that was fighting for that job with you. So that's the only reason you have the job. It's not because the people voted you in. And we will see him removed from office, and we will see justice brought.
So I want to ask you one more question before I wrap it up. What were you? I heard something about some of your family members where actually they put restraining orders on them from preventing them from protesting at the Manteca Police Department.
Yes, John Moody, who murdered my cousin as well with another officer, had put a restraining order against my cousin.
Wow, that's fucked up.
He was Ernest's brother. he was protesting. Sometimes Gabriel would protest and be the only one out there protesting for his brother. He is truly his brother's keeper.
Wow, that's messed up, man.
They have put a restraining order. They fear for their lives because he was putting up posters that say that John Moody was a murderer, and John Moody feels that is threatening him. John Moody, who murdered my cousin.
He is a murderer.
Who stripped his clothes off, not in an effort to save his life, but in an effort to find a weapon that was never on his body, put a restraining order against Ernest's brother for putting up a poster. It's just the most pathetic.
All right, bro.
It is the most pathetic excuse for a human being officer John Moody is, and but that restraining order has not stopped my family. We still protest, those of us that can, in front of the Manteca Police Department every Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30, and Gabriel with the other supporters does protest at the corner of the Manteca Police Department. We want peace, we want justice, and we're not going to stop till we get it.
So there you go. You got the story of the reality of police terror, of what police terror is. Right here, you're hearing the story for yourself, and don't fall into the bullshit. Yes, this is police terror against black and brown. It's messed up, and it shouldn't be happening, especially by the so-called public servants that are supposed to serve our community, but only serve Wall Street and only serve the system and the racist system that we live under. That's what they serve. They don't serve and protect us. Like Bobby Seale said, all they do is control and control. That's it. And I gotta give you a hug for giving me this interview, because it's beautiful that you're out here supporting black and brown solidarity with the familia of Oscar Grant. We need more unity. We need to put pressure on the government. We need to put pressure on the police, especially the Oakland Police and Manteca Police and any other police force that's corrupted and doing these kind of things. We need to put pressure. But if you have any...
Everybody, join us on Facebook, facebook.com/justice4Ernest. Get involved, do something. We got a lot of information on there. If you've been a victim or your family has been murdered by the police, we have a contact of a professor in Washington who wants to put together a case against the government. Please go to our site, get the information, contact me directly through the page. We're uniting. We're not going to stop until we get justice. Justice for Ernest.
All power to the people.
Jail for Moody.
Justice for Ernest, all power to the people, Chicano power, and jail for Moody, that crooked ass criminal cop. Well, thanks for this interview.
Thank you.
For sure.